Welcome to the History Corner by Uncle C. Today I would like to look at the Zulu State. Who was the founder of the Zulu State? Chaka was the founder of the Zulu State. What do you know about Chaka? Chaka was the son of the Zulu chief by the name Senzangakhona, and his mother was Nandi. The two were related. That is, Senzangakhona and Nandi were related. And because they were related and met, it meant that they were involved in what is known as incest. Incest is when we have relatives sleeping together. And because of this kind of arrangement, Nandi was forced to withdraw from the Zulu people, went on to live among the Mutetwa people who were being led by Dingiswayo. So Chaka grew up among the Mutetwa people. Of course, his uncle was the head of that clan by the name Dingiswayo. We should emphasize that Chaka learned a lot of things from his uncle. He learned a lot of things from his uncle. For example, he learned the issue of building a state, the fighting methods. I'll talk about that later. But for now, we should know that Chaka grew up among the Mteta people because Nandi was not comfortable to live in the Zulu state after that kind of an illegitimate relationship. So what do we see now? We are seeing, like I've already given, Chaka growing among or living among the Mteta people. We know that he grew up being despised by people because people knew that he was an illegitimate child. He was despised, he was looked down upon. People always ridiculed him. We are also made to understand that Chaka grew up as a courageous or brave young man who at one point had to kill a lion alone. At the age of 16, he joined Dingiswayo's army and grew up to be a regimental commander. He learned a lot of skills or tactics from Dingiswayo, which helped him, of course, to lead his own state later in his life. We are made to understand that at the death of his father, Senzangakhona, Chaka went back to the Zulu clan and found that Sigujana was the head. And with the help of Dingiswayo, he managed to overthrow Sigujana and he became the head of the Zulu clan. We are made to understand that during Mfecane, when of course Mutetwa was fighting with Ndwandwe, or Dingiswayo was fighting with Zwide, Dingiswayo ended up being killed by Zwide. Chaka did not help his uncle, right? And this made Chaka later to take Mutetwa to be part of the Zulu. So he went on to combine the Zulu clan and the Mutetwa clan to form what we call a state. Remember, when you combine two clans, what you form is not a clan, what you form is a state. So we are now seeing a state which was formed by Chaka. And we should try to emphasize here that there were certain factors, certain causes which made it possible for Chaka to rise to power. Which were some of the factors or some of the causes for the rise of Chaka? What made Chaka to be the king of the Zulu state, the leader of the Zulu state? You should go back to those theories of Mfecane, which are some of the theories which are being put forward by historians to explain the causes for the rise of Chaka. We have the demographic theory, the trade theory, We have the cattle theory, the hunting theory, the pasture theory, the military advancement theory, the famine theory, the emergence of ambitious African leaders theory. So these were some of the theories or explanations which are being put forward by the historians to explain why Chaka was able to rise to power. On the demographic theory, we are made to understand that Chaka also fought during Mfecane for land so that he would settle his people. Population pressure therefore led many groups to fight for resources like land, and the Zulu clan or the Zulu state, which was under Chaka, emerged as a strong group, fought and vanquished other clans so that they could get land to settle the increasing population. We are also made to understand under the trade theory that different chiefdoms in South Africa or in Gunuland fought to control the foreign trade through the Delaware Bay with the Portuguese. And we are made to understand that Chaka, who had learned a lot of tactics, was able to defeat other clans, other states, and that made it possible for him to form his state called the Zulu. We also talk about the great man theory, that there was some influence of the great people on Chaka. For example, we talk about Kohan, a white man, who taught Dingisayo how to build a state, who taught Dingisayo the military skills. Dingisayo then taught Chaka how to build a state and the military tactics. So it was because of these great people that Chaka was able to form his own state called the Zulu State. We also know that the famine theory, of course, we learn that there was what is known as the Malatule famine, where people or different groups, including the Zulu under Chaka, fought for survival. We also know that there is another theory which is known as the pasture theory, where different states, different chiefdoms fought in order to control pastures for their cattle. And Chaka fought other groups, and because he was capable, was a good fighter, he was able to defeat other clans, other states, and that enabled him to form the Zulu state. We also know that he had a large army which helped him to hunt, to farm, and to raid other people. We also know that the Zulu state came or rose out of many tribal conflicts. So we are saying here, we need to understand the issue of demographic theory, trade theory, white man theory, that is Kohan, that white man theory, we're talking about Kohan meeting Dingiswayo and Dingiswayo teaching Chaka. We also know the issue of hunting theory, that they were fighting for hunting areas. And because he was capable of fighting, then Chaka was able to form his own state because he was able to fight and defeat other states over hunting areas. We also know that there was cattle theory, where people fought to get cattle from other tribes. So because now Chaka had a lot of cattle, that made him to, of course, to form his own state, which was known as the Zulu state, right? So we also know that Chaka himself was an ambitious person, and it was because of this kind of attitude that he was able to form his own state called the Zulu state. All right. We also need to talk about the war which happened from 1818 to 1823. Here I can talk about Mfecane anyway. we need to talk about the developments which happened from 1818 to 1823. So in 1816 we have the Ndwandwe, which were of course under Zwide, fighting against the Ngwane. So we are going to talk about Ndwandwe, right? Because Zwide was the most powerful chief or king. He fought against the Ngwane. He also fought against the Mtetwa. He fought against other groups of people. But we need to also emphasize that Zwide went on to fight against the Zulu. Went on to fight against the Zulu and the Mtetwa. Remember, there was a relation between the Zulu and the Mtetwa, right? So we also see the Zwide leading the Ndwandwe, fighting against the Zulu, fighting against the Mtetwa. Not on one occasion, but on several occasions they fought against each other. In 1818, Ndwandwe fought against the Zulu, and we should emphasize that the Ndwandwe were defeated by Chaka, right? And when they were defeated, we should emphasize that Ndwandwe generals were driven away, which were some of the Ndwandwe generals who were driven away because of the defeat of the Ndwandwe by Chaka. We know that there was Zwangendaba, there was also Soshangane. These were the Ndwandwe generals who were driven away from Nguniland because of the defeat of the Ndwandwe at the hands of the Zulu State. Zwide himself flew upper Kruma River. We also should know that there were some small tribes which were attacked by Chaka to consolidate his power in Nguniland. And these were made to submit under Chaka or to come under Chaka. We know that, for example, the Kumalo under Mzilikazi were forced to submit under Chaka or to come under Chaka. So we need to know the battles which were fought from 1818 to 1823. But we should emphasize, or it should be easy for us to remember, because we are just talking about the Ndwandwe fighting against Ngwane, the Ndwandwe fighting against the Mtetwa, against the Zulu, against the Zulu and the Mtetwa, against other tribes, then fighting against the Zulu, who later defeated them, leading to the migration of Zwangendaba and Soshangane, who were part of the Ndwandwe state or chiefdom. We see Zwide, of course, migrating to other areas. We see other small tribes being forced to submit to Chaka. So we need to remember these battles which were fought. Then we need to also talk about the military changes which were introduced by Chaka when he became the head of the Zulu State. What did Chaka introduce in terms of the army? So we talk about the military changes introduced by Chaka in the Zulu State. We talk about banning circumcision. Chaka did not want his soldiers to be circumcised because that also would steal time for his soldiers of fighting, so to say. We also know that Chaka introduced barefootedness, where he banned the wooden sandals, which he felt were slippery, right, and heavy. So he introduced barefootedness, where soldiers were supposed to go to war barefooted. Some people, however, argue that